Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. This is your host Ram on this Cricket Happening show, and I'm sure many people would have been taken up by a bit of surprise. Yes, just because I had gone for my second COVID dose today, I'm out here to talk to you about some exciting cricket that happened. I'm going to definitely going to be a sort of a snippet, like a sort of a summary, because there are four matches. But before I start all that, I would like to really say that I would like to say that it's a very, very sorry day as far as Indian cricket is concerned, as one of India's batsmen by the name Yashpal Sharma, who was a member of the 1983, the first ever World Cup that India won against the West Indies in 1983, and played a pivotal role in that World Cup when he hit. When he hit a substantial score against England in the semi-finals and also against the West Indies. And besides, one of the strokes that stands out of this gentleman, Yashpal Sharma, was an absolutely a stroke that would have really made Vivian Richards proud, where he actually walked onto the off stump and hoiked the ball over the onside for a six of none other than the late Bob Willis, who today England and Pakistan played a game which England actually won the series 3-0, and it was a great tribute. And Yashpal Sharma passed away, and he was the one who put Bob Willis into the crowd. And what a shot that was! And Yashpal Sharma, a very, very gutsy cricketer, has copped a lot of blows on his body, especially considering the fact there was no videos available when one of the preliminary matches in the World Cup against the West Indies. Yashpal Sharma made a magnificent score, whereby he had to face the likes of Malcolm Marshall, Andy Roberts, Joel Garner, and all those big bowlers, all the big West Indian bowlers. He had to face them, but unfortunately, there was no coverage available, and what a shame that was. But nevertheless, it was all over. India's Yashpal Sharma is no more. He passed away at the age of 66 due to a cardiac arrest. May his soul rest in peace. And he was the second highest run getter in India's historic 1983 triumph. He played 37 test matches and he played 42 ODIs for India from the years 1978 to 85. So I just wanted to start off by playing a small tribute to this gentleman, Yashpal Sharma. So that is as far as the Yashpal Sharma is concerned. But what a gutsy cricketer he was. And he could also grind down the bowlers and play a waiting game as well in the test matches. But now, now I'm going to talk about some exciting matches that happened. I have to go to yesterday first. First, talk about the Australia. So first, let me tell you what I have for you in store today. The Australia versus West Indies, the 5-match T20 series. This West Indian team, even without the services of Kieron Pollard, yes, we know that the Aussies were having a second string team, but nevertheless, it's still a sweet victory for the West Indies. It's after a gap of probably 22 years that they have beaten Australia in any format of the game, and that's what the stats say. And the Aussies actually lost the match against the West Indies in the third 20. That was a must-win match for them. In the third T20, and the West Indians clearly showing their dominance as they won the match by 6 wickets and took a 3-0 lead in the series, a winning 3-0 lead at that. And the universe boss, Chris Gayle, was absolutely brilliant. And he was under tremendous form, and he was under tremendous pressure to perform. And here he comes in and slams 67 of 38 deliveries with 4 fours and 7 wonderful sixes that he's only capable of. And the universe boss, as he is acclaimed nowadays in world cricket, went on to go to the first person ever in the annals of T20 cricket to reach 14,000 T20 runs. What a phenomenal achievement from this great cricketer, Chris Gayle. And one is really waiting to watch him at the T20 World Cup. I'm sure that would be his swan song. Now, also, another thing that I would like to, another thing that was something which happened yesterday. So I will be talking about that particular game. But again, dear fans and subscribers, I could only go into the real crux of it. Other than that, there's one more upset that has happened. Ireland versus South Africa. Probably, Ireland and South Africa would have never expected this. But here comes Ireland. Andy Balvenie, the captain, leading the show with his 7th ODI century, taking the team score to 290, and which proved to be a winning total as Ireland won the match against the South Africans by 43 runs. And this is the first ever win for Ireland. And what this has done for Ireland is the ODI Super League's points table. They have really jumped up a notch, and I think they have 35 points if I'm not wrong. But what a performance from Ireland! We will look at that as well. And then the other thing that really takes the cake is this Pakistan unit, which was struggling against England, and not only struggled today, but even after putting up a massive total of 331 for 9, which hitherto has never been achieved in Edgbaston. But that happened today with Ben's Babes team of England doing it to Pakistan once again, even usurping a total as big as 331 for 9 by scoring 332 for 7 with 2 overs to spare. They won by 3 wickets. The master, the chief architect of the win was James Wins with his maiden ODI century. So we are going to talk about all this. So let's head towards the Australia-West Indies game and see what really happened. Now, as far as the Australia, once again, West Indies did not have Kieron Pollard. If you look at the Australian card there, again, it was very tough going. The West Indian bowling was absolutely on the mark. The fielding was splendid, and that really enabled them to keep the Aussies to 141 for 6. They definitely had an aggressive approach yesterday. They decided that they were going to go after the West Indian bowlers. But again, the West Indian bowling was pretty sharp. Matthew Wade was out for 23 at the top of the order of 16 deliveries with 4 boundaries in that. Aaron Finch was there for a long time, but what a catch by Fabian Allen. I mean, Fabian Allen is definitely making a name for himself, no doubt about it. What a fielder. I mean, what presence of mind. Dwayne Bravo at the deep, dropping the catch, the ball bobbing out. Fabian Allen was there showing amazing presence of mind. To go as the ball dropped in, probably one would have thought he's going to go to the ground, but Fabian Allen comes in and picks up the catch, and that was something, absolute presence of mind. Aaron Finch, the captain, was gone, and that was really a big blow for them. After that, Mitchell Marsh, the highest scorer, who has been doing very well in this particular series, could only get 9 runs of 12 deliveries, but he was a goner. After that, Alex Caddy was brought into the game, but of no avail. He was gone for 30 of 9 deliveries with 2 boundaries. Moises Henriques was the highest scorer with 33 of 29 with 2 sixes. Turner got into the team, ran out for 24, did his bit. Dane Christian not out 1 and 141 for 6. As far as the West Indian bowling was concerned, Obaid McCoy, even after Obaid McCoy left the field after bowling just 1 over, you could just imagine what amount of bench strength the West Indians have. Sheldon Cottrell, 4 overs, none for 32. Russell, none for 29. Dwayne Bravo, 3-1 for 17. Fabian Allen, as usual, trundles his overs beautifully. 4 overs, 1 for 26. Hayden Walsh, once again, showing what a superb, not only a superb bowler, what a superb athlete he is. The amount of runs that he actually saves for the West Indies is something which is great according to me, and also his bowling skills. I mean, he has been only showing more and more improvement, and this was another metronomic bowling performance from Hayden Walsh. 4 overs, no maidens, 2 wickets for 18 runs for Hayden Walsh. And Chris Gayle bowled a solitary over for 9 runs. Now, West Indies were given a target of 142. They lost Andre Fletcher pretty early in the piece to Mitchell Starc. Mitchell Starc, for the first time in this series, really hitting his straps as he bowled 4 overs, no maiden, 1 for 15. But the other bowlers could not. Meredith was brought on, and Riley Meredith definitely did a good turn for himself, no doubt about it, improving his prospects, even though he bowled 3.5 overs, no maiden, 48 runs, and he picked up 3 wickets, and at one point of time, he was on a hat-trick as well. Lendl Simmons contributed 15 with 3 boundaries, but it was Chris Gayle, the universe boss, started off in a very sedate fashion, but later on, he really imposed himself on the Aussie bowlers, and what shots they were. That was all, we will all call them universal boss Chris Gayle shots, and that was all sailing out of the park time and again as he slammed 67 of 38 deliveries with 4 fours and 7 6. He got tremendous support from the captain of the victorious captain of the series, Nicholas Pooran. And Nicholas Pooran, as we know, has been struggling in this series. So the 2 strugglers definitely got it on today. Chris Gayle, the one who was struggling, made 67, as I said, and Nicholas Pooran, the captain, was there for the winning hit with an unbeaten 32. He was also someone who was under pressure. As a captain, he was doing well, but as a batsman, he definitely had to carry on. And here he comes, Nicholas Pooran, showed what a cricketer he can be. He was just the strokes that he played was played with tremendous authority. He totally imposed himself on the Aussie attack. Nicholas Pooran not out 30 of 27, 4 fours and 1 6. Bravo 7. Andre Russell showed his reflexes as he came in and thrust the ball for a 6, and that was it. That was the victory for the West Indians, and not only taking their third consecutive win over Australia in this series, but also picking up a series win as well. Mitchell Starc 1 for 15, very well. George Hazelwood 3 overs 1 for 33. Riley Meredith, I've already spoken about it. Adam Zampa was someone who got severe tap from the bat of Chris Gayle, 3 overs 1 for 34. Mitchell Marsh 1 over 1 for 8. Chris Gayle, Universe Balls, was named man of the match. And who wouldn't like to see Chris Gayle in the T20 World Cup? I, for one, would really say Chris Gayle is an absolute certainty in the T20 World Cup for the West Indies. Now, let's go into the other match. Now, this is something which is Ireland versus South Africa we are talking about in the ODI Super League. The second ODI, the first ODI was washed out. The second ODI, third ODI has come. So it's South Africa. For South Africa, it's going to be a must-win match after losing to Ireland, as Ireland, for the first time ever in ODIs, beat South Africa. And Ireland 290 for 5, South Africa 247 all out. Ireland winning the match by 43 runs. Andy Balbirnie, the Irish captain, played a super innings, one could call, of 102 of 117 deliveries, which included 10 fours and 2 sixes. Let's have a look at the card from Ireland. Ireland 290 for 5, definitely built upon the and Andy Balbirnie taking the sort of the initiative or the responsibility. There was no William Porterfield today. It was Andy Balbirnie who opened the innings. He took it upon himself as a captain. He has been saying that, and today he showed us why. As his bat definitely did the talking. As Andy Balbirnie scored 102, his 7th ODI century. He's one of the wonderful stroke makers for Ireland. Andy Balbirnie, 102 of 117 deliveries, which included 10 fours and 2 sixes. Paul Starling made 27 of 44 with 4 boundaries. Andy McBride, 30 of 47 balls with 3 fours. But Harry Tector is someone who really gave a sort of a real bashing to the South African bowlers, as he showed what a valuable member of the team he can be when he actually ramped Kagiso Rabada over the third man for a 6, and then drove one of the bowlers beautifully into the pickets. Harry Tector, 79 of 68 deliveries, 6 fours and 4 sixes, and in the death overs, Harry Tector and George Dockrell absolutely ransacked runs. They went over 100 runs in the last 10 overs. So George Dockrell, already we know his batting capabilities, hitting 45 of 23, 5 fours and 2 sixes, and that really enabled this Irish team to reach 290 for 5. Always a great total to have. So as far as the bowling was concerned, Kagiso Rabada 10-1 for 58. Now Kagiso Rabada getting some cavalier treatment, one could call. The Norgay, the paciest bowler, not only picking up wickets but also leaking runs. 10 overs, no maiden, none for 64. Andel Filakwayo 10 overs, 2 for 73. Keshav Maharaj 10 overs, 1 for 50. And Tabrai Samsi, who bowled excellently against the West Indies, 10 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 42. Semblance of respectability, one could call it. As the South Africans were given a target of 291 to win the match, and they were bowled out for 247. If you look at the card there, they decided probably this is the sort of confidence, I suppose. Probably South Africa thought that against Ireland it is not going to be something difficult, and they decided to drop their top-notch opening batsman and the wicketkeeper, Quinton de Kock, who was in some prime form and was the man of the series in the Caribbean. Janneman Mullen was the highest scorer, and we all know Janneman Mullen, aggressive opener. He definitely played some wonderful shots with a knock of 84 of 96 deliveries, which included 7 fours and 4 sixes. Other than that, they had Rassie van der Dussen contributing 49 of 70, 2 boundaries. But other than that, there was not much really to talk about. Markram was out for 5. Bahuma, the captain, went for 10. Kyle Vereen for 13, David Miller for 24, Andel Filakwayo 2, Keshav Maharaj 17, Rabada 16, Norgay 10, Shamsi was not out and not 247 all out for the South Africans. And the bowling, look at the bowling there. Craig Young, 8 overs, 1 for 34. Mark Adair did a good job, 8.3 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 43. Josh Little did his bit, 10 overs no maiden 245. Simi Singh, the spinner, 8 overs 1 for 44. George Dockrell, 1 for 37. Andy McBride, the offie, 7 overs no maiden 2 for 34. And it was all done and dusted. The Ireland had, now Ireland, as I said, have taken a lead in the three-match ODI series with the first one rained off. So the onus will be on the South Africans to go and win the next one, if at all they don't want to have the humiliation of losing to Ireland. The final ODI, which will be coming up. But let me say, Ireland are leading the three-match series 1-0. And definitely, as I said, they have climbed on the ODI Super League as well. They have gone up on the ODI Super League. They have gone up. They got points. I think they got 10 points, and that has really enabled them to really jump into the top rung, into the probably between the top and the middle rung, one could say. So well done, Ireland, and congratulations to Ireland, and also congratulations to the West Indies for doing this to Australia. Now, the next match that we are talking about, this is the match that I would like to talk about. Now, as you know, the Pakistanis, this is the 5-match T20 series. The Pakistanis have been struggling, we all know, but definitely it has been a big struggle for them. But after Pakistan raced 331 for 9 on the board on a pitch in Edgbaston, where never ever a chase of this proportion has ever been successfully chased. But this Ben's Babes team came there and they showed that they could do it, and that really shows that this England team, which was just accumulated just because of the COVID, with the mainstream players contacting COVID, one has to really doff our hats to this England team. And this is definitely going to pose a few selection headaches for the English selectors. But what a magnificent victory that was by England. England winning by 3 wickets, chasing down 331 for 9 by making 332 for 7 in 48 overs. England winning by 3 wickets with 12 balls remaining. Let's have a look at the card. I mean, who would have expected Pakistan, after making 331 for 9, would have been subject to some severe humiliation in this series, as England won the series 3-0. As far as Pakistan were concerned, 331 for 9 was built upon Babar Azam's innings. Now, Babar Azam, as we all know, is a world-class batsman. He's on the top rung of cricketers in the cricketing world, and here he comes in. And as you know, Babar Azam's wickets has been taken by Saqib Mahmood. He also bowled 2 consecutive maidens to Babar Azam, Saqib Mahmood. Babar Azam was very watchful, and he came in with a determination, and he did it. He played a marvelous knock, one could call. He interspersed it with some beautiful shots down the ground, beautiful shots through the covers, which is an absolutely pleasing to watch when Babar Azam drives the ball, as he's absolutely a great driver of a ball. And also when he actually gets those sixes hit, it was hit with real lot of force. Babar Azam scored 158 of 139 televisions, his highest score ever in ODI cricket. And also I am told he's become the fastest to the 14 ODI tons in world cricket, surpassing even the likes of Graham Smith and Virat Kohli, I reckon. 158 of 139 deliveries, 14 fours and 4 sixes in that. And Mohammad Rizwan, who has been another one who has been struggling on this tour, finally came alive with a knock of 74 of 58 deliveries, 8 fours, because I definitely feel these two players form the real basis of Pakistan cricket in the future. Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan. Imamul Haq today came up successfully, made 56 of 73, 7 boundaries in that knock. Fakhar Zaman failed to the bat. He was out for 6. Mahmood getting into the picture with the wickets. Maqsood was out for 8. Hassan Ali 4. Ashraf 10. And other than that, I'm not going to go into the 331 for 9 was what Pakistan put up on the board. And that was a massive, massive total on an Edgbaston pitch. If they look at the bowling, Saqib Mahmood for the first time in the series, even though he gave away runs, look at his wicket tally, which never fades. 10 overs, 2 minutes, 60 runs and 3 wickets, bagged the Player of the Series award, and why not? Lewis Gregory, 7 overs, 9 for 42, came on to hit a beautiful, scintillating 77 with the bat. Craig Overton, 10 overs, 9 for 64, also played a role with the bat at the end stages. Braden Carsey also did hit the winning hit, 10 overs, no maiden 61, but what he did for himself, he picked up a maiden 5-4 in his ODI career in just his 3rd ODI match, 5 for 61 for Braden Carsey. Ben Stokes, 4 overs, none for 31. Matt Parkinson, 9 overs, one for 70. But the wicket that he took was a brilliant wicket, which actually went on to turn from outside the off stump and clatter the middle stump. And the wicket and the person who got out to this bloke Parkinson was none other than Imam ul Haq. So that is as far as the 331 for 9 score was concerned. Now let's talk about the England reply. Now England reply, Phil Salt at the top of the order, a ballistic 37 of 22 deliveries, which included 7 fours. Phil Salt knows only one way to play, and that is to really hit the ball pretty hard. David Mall was sent into the pavilion pretty early for naught. They also lost Zach Crawley for 39. But James Wins, as you know, James Wins in this particular series, he has really looked the piece, and he came in and came up trumps. What a knock from James Wins. A magnificent knock at that, and it was studded with strokes. And when James Wins plays his strokes, it's an absolute beauty to watch, and that's what precisely happened. He scored 102 of 95 deliveries, which included 11 boundaries. But what a knock. That gave him the Man of the Match award, and that was the basis on which England's innings really decided to believe that they are going to usurp this target. Ben Stokes was out for 32 of 28 deliveries, 4 fours and 1 6. Simpson left early for 3. But Lewis Gregory, the all-rounder, the hope was there because Lewis Gregory is considered a wonderful all-rounder in the making. He has already made it to the England team as well. And there he showed why he would be seriously considered for the all-rounders post for the England team, as he hit 77 of 69 balls with 6 fours and 3 sixes. And when Lewis Gregory hits the ball stays hit. And Craig Overton, in the end, it was a bit of pressure. Like 30 runs were required, but probably Pakistan would have sensed a chance into this, but that was not to be. Craig Overton, Lewis Gregory was out when the score was 303 for 7 in the 45th over. They still had some job to do, but Craig Overton, definitely we know that he has the batting capability, and that's what he precisely showed here. Not out on 18 of 15 deliveries, 1-4. Britton Carsey, not out on 12 of 11 deliveries, 1-4. He hit the winning hit, and that was the end of the match, with Pakistan losing the match and England winning the series 3-0. A tremendous victory for England, which could definitely leave them lifting their heads high, and we can say this England team is looking pretty strong in the white ball department. Now looking at the bowling there, look at the bowlers. The top bowlers were all taken to the cleaners. Shaheen Shah Afridi, 10 overs, no maiden, none for 78. Hassan Ali, 9 overs, no maiden, 1 for 69. But Haris Rauf, even though he got runs taken off him, picked up 4 wickets. His best ever analysis in ODI cricket. 4 for 65 for Haris Rauf. Fahim Ashraf, 6 overs, none for 34. Shadab Khan, 10 overs, no maiden, 261. Saud Shakil, 4 overs, none for 20, as I said. James Wins was the man of the match. Saqib Mahmood was the player of the series. Well, dear fans and subscribers, as I said, I had to really rattle along as we had 4 matches to talk about, with all exciting matches, and I'm sure you loved this cricket broadcast of mine. But one thing, tomorrow the England selectors will be sitting to pick up the T20 the T20 team for England. That will be pretty interesting. And England, and as you know, the Pakistan, basically I think they are much stronger. I think they would be putting up a much better effort than what we saw in the ODIs, because they predominantly have a very good T20 team. So let's wait and watch as to whether Pakistan can come up with the goods once Pakistan can come up with goods, or whether England is once again going to do it to Pakistan. Well, dear fans and subscribers, it was an absolute pleasure coming in. As I said, it just happenstance that I was at home today and I could actually share this cricket happening show with you all. I had the pleasure. Thank you. And once again, now I'll be seeing you on Saturday on my next cricket show. But as I always tell you, keep an eye on the cricket Twitter page. You can also go onto my website, www.cricket-status.com, and you can get connected to me. That's it from me, your host Ram, for the show for today, and see you all during the weekend. Thank you.